Are you a new truck driver or even a seasoned, experienced truck driver that's about to go to a new job and about to step into your first day of orientation? I want to give you a few hints of things not to take into orientation with you. One thing you don't want to take into orientation with you is an attitude. All right, that kind of goes without saying. Don't go in with a bad attitude. That's going to set things off from the start on a bad note. The other kind of attitude I'm talking about is the kind of guy, he fairly new to trucking, but he feels experienced. You know, he goes into trucking, he goes to truck driving school, gets a CDL, starts with one of the big mega companies, and so he trains with a trainer for 3 months. Then he goes off and he runs solo for about 2 months, quits that job. Now he's going to get a new job, but he has 5 months experience and he's traveled the world. Make sure if that's you, don't go into orientation with the idea, there might be 15, I don't know, there may be 5, 15, 30 people in class, I don't know. Don't go in with the attitude that you're going to try to let everybody know how experienced you already are. It happens, I've seen it happen a lot. Class would be, kind of want to take over the class a little bit, show everybody your experience. Yeah, I remember when we were dropping off the old grapevine, or yeah, when I was running downtown Manhattan, this kind of thing. Just kind of, let it go, lay low, and everything, I believe, will work a lot better. Another attitude thing, you don't want to walk in. I've seen this happen too. The stories I tell aren't things I'm dreaming up that might happen. I've actually seen this happen. People go in and all of a sudden they want to let everybody know how much they know about the state or the federal labor laws. And every time somebody will happen something, this is in orientation, all the people around, oh no, you're not allowed to do that, you'll get in a lot of trouble. You can get sued for doing that. Oh yeah, they'll come back and get you for that. You're gonna really get off to a bad start like that, and chances are they're gonna find a way to get rid of you before you finish orientation. They're gonna see you as a troublemaker. Also had a guy one time came in and filling out the application. He filled everything out and all the questions. He said his answer was, "We'll discuss." And I asked him, I said, you need to go ahead and fill out these lines. And he said, well, my attorney told me that all I have to do is write down, "We'll discuss." So A, he wasn't writing down the answers. B, again, I saw him as a troublemaker because for some reason he had to get advice from his attorney on what to do, how to fill out his application. So something's wrong there. Just kind of lay low, do your videos, your paperwork, fill everything out, and be honest about it, okay? I've seen too many people in my time, you want to talk about a criminal history or something like that, you try to hide something from me. A lot of things that you would have got away with just fine until I find out that you were hiding it from me and lying on the application. That'll get you booted. Another thing I do want to talk about is don't take the road test for granted. I've seen too many people that are experienced drivers and they just assume that the road test is a formality, okay? And if they take you out back and they put you in the back of the yard and let you make a left turn and a right turn, shift a gear and come to a stop, they're doing you a disservice. And if you are a fleet owner and your safety people are letting a road test, I know good and well, you don't even have to have a record of a road test. All you really have to do is put in there a copy of somebody's CDL, which is about the most irresponsible thing I've ever seen. But it's not much different than having somebody go drive around the yard. Road tests I did were hour-long road tests in major cities. And, I want to see whether you can drive or not. And you don't have to be perfect. But don't assume you're going to pass the road test just because you're experienced. I failed a lot of highly experienced people. It has just amazed me. And here's one example. And I'm like everybody else, I needed drivers, but it's just amazing how many drivers can drive forward fine, but they can't back up. And if you can't back up without me taking the chance of you hitting something before your first 6 weeks out by yourself, I can't hire you if you don't know how to back up. That's just one example. People have done some pretty crazy things on road tests, so Don't take it for granted that it's a formality and that you are going to pass the road test. Do that road test. Don't try to show anybody what a great driver you are. Show them what a safe driver you are. Drive like that guy in the right seat is a state trooper with his ticket book in his hand. So, but do that. Take the road test seriously. And don't be surprised if the guy giving you the road test is not coming out and he's not all chummy, all buddy with you when he comes out to do it. When I took somebody on a road test, one thing I knew is that he may not pass the road test, and so I'm not going to go out. We're not going to be friendly, happy-go-lucky, and buddy, and then all of a sudden we tell you have to fail. We go out, it's going to be just strictly business. I had a guy, and he went through driver school. We put him through 8 weeks of training, and I never let the trainers do the road test, so I did it, or I had one other person who would do it. But I went out to do the road test, and so I'm talking with him as we're walking out to the truck, and I let him go ahead and do the inspection first, but I'd walk around and take a look at things, the lug nuts, the lights. I asked him, what method did you use to check your tires? I see a lot of people still use a hammer and things. I'm still a big believer in the good old-fashioned tire bumper, because you can learn to hear the sounds, and you can tell whether one has 70 or 100 pounds. Sometimes the hammer and everything, or kicking it with your foot, you're going to know whether it's flat or not flat. So I'm still a big believer in. But anyhow, I asked, what method did you use to check the tires? He says, I visually check them. Well, he never even got in the truck to take the road test. I don't need anybody with that kind of an attitude that's not going to take an inspection any better than that. Don't be surprised if, like I did, I might come up, not only if I wasn't sure about you, I might come out like I'm in a really bad mood, and I might want to put you under pressure. When I was I'm a private pilot, and when I was taking my first flight test, there's a guy named Jim Brown. I later on took my instrument test with Dwayne Brown. I don't want them confused. Jim Brown, old bastard, I'm sure he's dead by now. But so we're walking out. It's a Piper Warrior low-wing airplane, so you have fuel in the left tank, fuel in the right tank. They operate separately. So we're walking out the plane, and he says, well, which fuel tank are you going to start out in? And I'd done a pre-flight inspection. I said, well, they're both about the same. And he said, they are not either. Haven't you even checked the fuel? And so, I showed him. I said, both tanks are full. You can't get much more even than that. Of course, I didn't express that attitude. And so later on, we're doing a short field takeoff, short field landing, soft field takeoff. So we're coming around to do another landing, and I said, what do you want me to do now, just a normal landing? And he says, yeah, I guess. And I'm about to make the prettiest landing of my life, and I'm coming down, just about to touch the runway, and he says, go around. And I'm thinking, he says, don't land short of the runway, go around. I think this old bastard's in a bad mood, and he's going to fail me because of that. I said, Mr. Brown, I wasn't going to land short of the runway. Then he lightened up, he started laughing, he said, no. He said, go-arounds are just kind of part of what I have to test you on. So don't be surprised if they're acting like in a bad mood. Don't, they might put you under the pressure because they want to see if you can handle the pressure when you're out there on the road. You experienced drivers know there's a lot of pressure out there on the road, a lot of heavy traffic, weather, you know what it's like. So don't take the road test for granted. I do want to mention another thing real quick. Think about your email address you use. I literally was going through and people were applying applications. Somebody's application, they said their email address was drunkanddrinking@whatever.com. There's no way I was going to hire this guy, because if he, you always have to consider what's going to happen if they're in the big accident, because plaintiff's attorneys aren't nice. The plaintiff's attorney is going to be a real trou de cool, pardon my French, and they're not nice to you, and they'll take little things like that and they'll tear you apart over that. So Watch what you use for your email address. Everybody's going to look at that. Your safety people's going to look. They're not going to want somebody whose email address is drunk and drinking at whatever.com. My other suggestion is go ahead and watch what you put on social media, because nowadays people are looking at that. They want to see, they can tell a whole lot about you from your social media. They can also tell if you're bad-mouthing every company you've ever been with on social media, and it's going to affect their hiring decision. So I put out a lot of these videos. I probably forgot something. I tried to take some notes yesterday. I put out something on the drug and alcohol, and when I was finished I wished I'd added a few things. But I make these videos for the truck drivers, experienced or not. A lot of these things are just stories, true stories I tell. They're for dispatchers, safety professionals, and fleet owners. I consult a lot of fleet owners. So if you will, get out and subscribe to the channel. Watch some of the other videos I put out, and I'm going to keep putting them out. Sometimes it gets a little boring, but it's very educational in its own way. So watch the video, like it if you like it, give it the thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it the thumbs up, down, and leave a comment. Tips and tales from a trucking safety director. I'm Danny Drummond. See you next time.